You could win the lottery tomorrow, and within a year you'd probably feel almost exactly the same amount of not enough that you feel right now. That's not a flaw in your character. It's not a lack of gratitude. It's something wired so deep into your brain that most people spend their entire lives never once questioning it. It's called the psychology of scarcity. And once you understand how it actually works, you'll never look at your own cravings, your bank account, or your ambition the same way again. Here's the strange part. Scarcity was never really about how much you have. It's about how much you feel you're missing. Imagine two people. One has 20,000 rupees in the bank and sleeps peacefully. The other has 20 lakh rupees invested, but checks his portfolio 20 times a day, terrified of losing it. Who is richer? Most of us instinctively answer with numbers. But psychologically, the second person may be living in greater scarcity than the first. Researchers studying poverty found something remarkable. When people don't have enough money, their brains don't just worry about money, their entire mental capacity narrows around it, like a tunnel closing in. They called it tunneling. And the wild part is, this isn't unique to money. Time scarcity, love scarcity, attention scarcity, they all hijack the mind the exact same way. When you're inside a scarcity tunnel, your brain becomes brilliant at solving the one problem right in front of it, and almost blind to everything outside that tunnel. That's why a person drowning in debt can miss an obvious better deal. Why someone starved for time forgets their own health. Why someone starved for love makes choices they'd never make with a clear mind. Scarcity doesn't just take away what you're lacking. It taxes your intelligence, your patience, and your self-control. The very resources you need to actually escape the tunnel. So why, even when you get more money, more success, more validation, does the feeling of not enough always seem to circle right back? Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You get the raise, you feel amazing for a few weeks, and then your baseline quietly resets. You're back to wanting the next thing. It's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your brain was never built to register absolute amounts. It was built to register change and comparison. Which is why you can feel behind while earning triple what your parents earned, simply because you're measuring yourself against your neighbor, your feed, or your industry, instead of your own past. Evolution rewarded this restlessness. The humans who were never fully satisfied kept hunting, kept building, kept surviving. Contentment, biologically speaking, once looked a lot like giving up, but you're not living in that world anymore. And a survival instinct built for genuine food scarcity is now quietly running your entire relationship with money, time, love, and self-worth. Centuries before psychologists gave this a name, the Stoic philosopher Seneca noticed the exact same pattern in Rome's wealthiest men. He observed that poverty was rarely about the size of someone's fortune, it was about the size of the gap between what they had and what they believed they still needed. By that measure, some of the richest people you know are psychologically starving, and some people with very little are living in genuine abundance. So if scarcity was never really about what's in your hands, then abundance was never about filling them up either. Abundance is not a number in your bank account. It's not a finish line you eventually cross. It's a mental and emotional state, a way of relating to what you already have, which means abundance is technically available to you right now, in this exact moment, regardless of your current circumstances. Most people simply never learn how to access it. Spiritual traditions across the world arrived at this same conclusion through a completely different door. Buddhist psychology points to craving itself, not the object being craved, as the true root of suffering. A mind constantly reaching for the next thing can never rest, no matter how much it eventually collects. This isn't a call to stop wanting things. It's an invitation to notice the difference between desire that moves you forward and craving that quietly convinces you your present life isn't enough. Here's what makes scarcity so hard to escape on your own. It creates its own self-feeding loop. The more you feel lacking, the more your attention narrows onto what's missing. The more it narrows, the more evidence you find of the lack. And the more evidence you find, the more real that scarcity feels. It's a feedback loop in your attention, not necessarily a reflection of your actual life. And like any loop, it can only be broken by consciously interrupting it. So here's how you actually interrupt it. Not with forced positivity, not by pretending you don't want more, but with 4 practical shifts that retrain your mind out of scarcity and into abundance. The first shift is deceptively simple. Define what enough actually looks like for you. Most people chase more indefinitely because they've never once sat down and honestly answered the question, enough money, enough success, enough recognition, what would that actually look like? Without a defined enough, there's no finish line, only an endless treadmill. Take 5 minutes this week and write down one honest picture of enough in a single area of your life. The second shift is learning to widen your tunnel on purpose. When you notice your mind fixating on a bill, a deadline, or a comparison, pause and consciously name 3 things outside that tunnel that are currently fine: your health, a relationship, a skill you have. This isn't denial, it's recalibration. You're reminding your nervous system that scarcity in one area doesn't mean scarcity everywhere. The third shift works directly against the comparison engine driving your dissatisfaction. A specific, evidence-based gratitude practice. Not a vague "I'm grateful for my life," which your brain barely registers. Instead, write down one concrete detail each night, a real moment, a real person, a real specific thing from that day. Specificity is what makes gratitude work. It gives your brain the same sense of gain it would get from acquiring something new, except this time the source is something you already have. The fourth shift is simple, but surprisingly powerful. Build a pause between craving and action. The next time you feel the urge to buy, scroll, or compare, wait 10 minutes before acting on it. Not forever, just 10 minutes. That single pause interrupts the scarcity loop at its root, giving your rational mind time to catch up with your reactive one. Over time, the pause becomes a habit, and the habit becomes freedom. Do this consistently, and something in you quietly shifts. You stop measuring your life against an invisible, infinite finish line. You stop needing the next win to finally feel okay. You start noticing how much was actually already here, all along. This isn't the absence of ambition. It's ambition without the desperation underneath it, wanting more from a place of wholeness, instead of chasing more to escape a feeling of lack. The truth is, scarcity was never really about money, or time, or love. It was always about a mind that had forgotten how to recognize what it already has, and abundance was never something you had to go out and earn, it was something you had to come home to. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned to postpone our lives. I'll be happy when, I'll feel enough when, I'll finally rest when. But abundance begins the moment you stop treating your life as something that starts later. Because one day you'll realize, the life you were waiting for was the one you were already living. If this shifted how you see your own not enough, subscribe to The Seeker's Hood. We explore ideas exactly like this every week. Tell me in the comments, what does enough actually look like for you in one specific area of your life right now? And if you know someone stuck chasing a finish line that keeps moving, send them this video. It might be exactly the permission they need to finally stop running and start arriving.